Hello, I'm Richard Ashton, and some of you may know me as Friday, the Ice Warrior, from the Doctor Who episode Empress of Mars. But much more importantly, the legend of the Travelling TARDIS proudly presents Phantasmagoria.
Oh, look, we're here. We can see ourselves. That must mean that the show is beginning. Let's start in proper fashion, shall we, my dear Phantasmagoria troupe? Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Oh, and all the diversity of distinguished guests that have followed us down through the centuries. We are Phantasmagoria. Oh, and we welcome you here to this wonderful little box thing where we're all appearing in. And we were introduced by a wonderful actor, Richard Ashton, just now. Now, Richard doesn't know this, but I'm one of the 2 people on the planet who saw The Saint. So, bravo, Richard. And I know your work from stuff other than the Doctor Who universe as well. Fifth Element too, I think. I'm trying to remember, but I do believe so. So just applauding you for that wonderful introduction. Now, we are brought here for this Christmas special 2023, which is a little bit of a misnomer. I mean, it's too early for Christmas time, even though it's technically a Christmas special. Yet it's too late for Halloween, as that is past. But we put together tonight a fine gift for the Doctor, and we feel they will love this, for we're going to play in the works of an author who the Doctor came into contact with multiple times. But before I get into that little introduction, I want to introduce all of us here. My name is Byron, as you can tell by the little B-Y-R-O-N in my name up here on the screen. I'd like to introduce this devilish fellow. Bosch, take a little bit of a bow, my dear friend.
Thank you.
And over here, we have this lovely lady. Not Bosch, she's lovely, but we have this lovely lady here who's coming to us from a very distant universe. Now, you who are fans of Doctor Who, you know all these wonderful timelines and universes, but even the Doctor would not go where she lives. She lives in a place called Washington, D.C. Very dangerous, I assure you. Sephoneia, take a bow, dear heart.
Hello, my darlings.
Now, a little bit of history for all of you, as it has not appeared in the little TV thingy that you turn on with the remote. On October 2nd, 1849, we know that our dear first Doctor attended a seance in the American city of Baltimore, very close to Washington, D.C., as a matter of fact, at the invitation of a Dr. Parsons and a Dr. Wolfson, in which he met this well-known author we're going to be doing tonight. Oh, and in that evening, it ended with a little bit of an incident with a ram's skull. And if it were not for the Doctor thinking clearly and spilling his cognac, and the author himself knocking over a candle that would set the ram's skull ablaze, things would have gone terribly awry. They, therefore, averted a door that was opening and allowing evil to enter into this world. This came to be known as the true and indisputable facts in the matter of the ram's skull. We also know that the seventh Doctor came into contact with this author again in several different timelines the very next day, on October 3rd, 1849. These dates are very important if you know your history. The eighth Doctor also encountered this man of mystery and horror the very next day, on October 4th, 1849, where the Doctor was given by this author a manuscript called Haunters of the Dark. Could this be about ghosts? Could it have been this author's best and most loved work? We will never know, for I fear that the manuscript was unreadable. There was also a second encounter, but that involved talk about a gorilla wearing a cravat and a waistcoat, so we're not going to venture into that. What we do know, and is historically accurate, is that on October 7th, 1849, this amazing author died under very mysterious circumstances, taking his genius away from this world, but leaving us with an immense treasure of his works. And it is from those that we're going to give this sort of mid-autumn gift. That's probably how we settle on it, mid-autumn gift to our dear Doctor and all of his friends and family out there. The author's name, of course, is Edgar Allan Poe. And tonight we're going to be celebrating some of the dear works of this wonderful author. Now, to start, we're going to have a work that many of you will know that we're all going to tell this one together. So let us begin with our very first work that we're going to do for you tonight. You have to always clear your throat. If you're in the audience, you can clear your throats as well. Thank you. The Raven.
A tale of mournful and never-ending remembrance.
First published in the New York Evening Mirror on January 29th,
1845. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping,
Suddenly there came a tapping,
as of someone gently rapping
at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Ah, distinctly, I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor.
Eagerly he wished the morrow, vainly he had sought to borrow
from his book surcease of sorrow.
Sorrow for the lost Lenore.
For the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore.
Nameless here forevermore.
And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain
thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating,
"'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door.
Some late visitor
entreating
entrance
at my chamber door. That it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door.
Darkness there, and
nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before.
But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word.
Lenore. Oh, this I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore.
Lenore. Merely this.
And nothing more.
Back into the chamber turning, all his soul within him burning. Soon again he heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before.
Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what that at is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart
be
still
still
a moment, and this mystery explore.
'Tis the wind,
and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore.
Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he.
But with mine of lord or lady perched above the chamber door.
Perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. Perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven.
Ghastly, grim, and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore.
Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on that placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour.
Nothing further then he uttered.
Not a feather then he fluttered.
Till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before.
Then
the birds said,
nevermore.
Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer.
Swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor.
Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore.
Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore.
Quoth the raven, nevermore.
O prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore.
Desolate, yet all undaunted on this desert land enchanted.
On this home by horror haunted.
Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken with the bust above my door.
And take
thy beat from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door.
And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming.
And the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor.
And
my soul from out that shadow lies floating on the floor.
Shall be lifted. Nevermore. Nevermore. The end. Bravo. Thank you, Bosch. I mean, I think everybody in the audience realized we're like in 3 different timelines, which is very Doctor Who, yes. And so there was that little bit of an overlappy thing that happened that was weird. But thank you for what a wonderful gift to give the Doctor on this day. That was beautiful, the two of you. And Christian, I hand this back to you now for our little commercial break.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
Ah, we are back, it seems. So those were wonderful commercials, and you had the Kitchen Killers in there, who we absolutely adore. We had a wonderful evening with Billy when he came to see our last show, Tales of the Undead, actually. So I love those commercials. Now, we have a very dark treat for you. Because we don't just need sweet little morsels, we need the darkest morsels out there. And who better to tell this tale, which he chose himself, but the darkest amongst us. Welcome to your screen with another tale from Edgar Allan Poe, and I won't give the title. I will let you do that, Bosch. You can enjoy this. Let us welcome Bosch.
I do this at the behest of Zeus, of course. For the most wild and most homely narrative that I am about to relate, I neither expect nor solicit belief. Mad indeed would I be to expect it in a case where my senses reject their own evidence. But mad am I not, and very surely do I not dream. But tomorrow I die, and today I would unburden my soul. From my youth I was noted for the docility of my character. I spent all of my time with animals and was always my happiest when petting them. This peculiarity of character grew with me in my growth, and in my manhood I derived from it one of my principal sources of pleasure. I married young, and was happy to find in my wife a disposition not uncongenial with my own. We had many animals. We had rabbits, a bird, a fine dog, and a cat. Pluto, this was the cat's name, was my personal favorite. I alone fed him, and he followed me about wherever I went. Our relationship grew in this manner for many years, during which my personality underwent a radical alteration for the worse. I grew day by day more moody, more irritable, more regardless of the feelings of others. At length, I even offered my wife personal violence. My pets, of course, were made to feel the change in my disposition. One night, returning home, much debauched from one of my haunts about town, I fancied that the cat avoided my presence. I seized the beast by the throat, and in his fear, he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with his teeth, and the fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I grasped the poor beast by the throat, pulled from my pocket a penknife, and I deliberately cut one of its eyes from the socket. After a few weeks, it no longer seemed to suffer any pain. It went about the house as usual, but of course avoided my presence. I was at first hurt by this avoidance, but that hurt soon grew into a feeling of perverseness. One morning in cool blood, I slipped a noose round its neck, and then I hung it from the limb of a tree. I hung it with tears streaming down my face, and I hung it because I knew it had loved me. Many weeks later, reclining in one of my dens of more than iniquity, I noticed a black shape reclining on one of the immense hogsheads of gin. I approached it. It was a black cat. I prepared to depart immediately, and it evinced a disposition to accompany me. I permitted it to do so, and when we came to my house, it domesticated itself at once. It became a great favorite with my wife. For my own part, I began to hate the creature. One morning, while doing some meaningless household chore, I descended into the cellar, and the cat wove itself between my feet and nearly threw me headlong and exasperated me to madness. Uplifting an axe and forgetting in my wrath the childish dread which had hitherto stayed my hand, I aimed a blow at the creature, which of course would have proved instantly fatal had it descended as I wished. But the blow was arrested by the hand of my wife. Goaded by the interference into a rage more than demoniacal, I withdrew my arm from her grasp, and I buried the axe in her brain. She fell dead on the spot without a groan. The hideous murder accomplished, I set myself forthwith, and with entire deliberation, to the task of concealing the body, and at last I alighted upon the solution. I would wall it up in the cellar, as the monks of the Middle Ages are said to have done. When I was done, I looked about proudly. The bricks presented no evidence of having been disturbed. My next task was to find the creature that had been the cause of so much wretchedness. But after 3 days, the creature did not present itself. It had fled the premises forever. I breathed as a free man. Upon the 4th day, a party of police came to the house and proceeded to make rigorous investigation. I quivered not in a muscle. At length, they even descended into the cellar. My heart beat calmly as that of one who slumbers in innocence. At length, they seemed satisfied and prepared to depart, and I burned to say if but one word, by way of triumph to render them doubly sure their assurance of my guiltlessness. Gentlemen, I delight to have allayed your suspicions. I wish you all health and a little more courtesy. By the by, gentlemen, by the by, this is a very well-constructed house, eh? And here, through the mere frenzy of bravado, I rapped heavily with the cane I held in my hand upon the very portion of the brickwork behind which stood the corpse of the wife of my bosom. Within the tomb, a cry at first, muffled, broken like a sobbing of a child, and then quickly swelling into a long, loud, continuous scream. It was a howl, a wailing shriek, half of horror, half of triumph. While swooning, I staggered to the opposite wall. In the next moment, a dozen stout arms were toiling at it. It fell bodily. And there, erect before the eyes of the spectators, stood the corpse of my wife, already greatly decayed and clotted with gore. And upon its head, with a red, extended mouth and a solitary eye of fire, sat the beast, whose craft had seduced me to murder, and whose informing voice had confined me to the gallows. I had walled up the beast within the tomb. The end.
Oh, bravo, Bosch. Merry Christmas indeed. That was so jovial. And the hanging of the cat on the tree, you know, it's a yearly tradition here, most especially in the States. No,
I
that
give
was
a cat to all my friends every year.
wonderful, dark, and a beautiful gift to give to the doctor, of course. And Christian, it is back to you for your wonderful commercials, my friend.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Jake Collins has been launched into the stratosphere by the popular social media app Yin Yang.
I just think it's incredible that someone from our hometown we knew so well.
That's my holy grail.
You are the closest thing this town has to a hero.
I'm still just Jake.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Oh, I love that. Hang In With the Web Show is wonderful. They're always at all of the conventions. We'll see them at MegaCon coming up in February. We're all there. Christian will be there with the TARDIS, and we'll be there February 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Much earlier this year, of course, you know. But they are wonderful. And I also saw in the video someone who was like an auxiliary member of Phantasmagoria. I don't know if you noticed him, Bosch, but Michael Winslow was in there. So Michael had done voiceovers for us in the past and stuff. So Michael's always fun. But we have another tale for you from Mr. Poe. This is kind of like the popular tale. It's like whenever you talk to someone and go, what's your favorite Poe story? They go, because they remember this one. Right? So we're going to give a little bit of populist entertainment for everyone. Shall we, my friends?
Shall.
True. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous I have been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not dulled them. Above all else was my sense of hearing acute.
He heard all things in the heaven and in the earth.
He heard many things in hell.
How then am I mad? Hearken!
And observe how healthily, how calmly, we can
tell you the whole story. The Tell-Tale Heart.
A classic of Gothic fiction by Edgar Allan Poe.
First published in James Russell Lowell's The Pioneer in January
1843. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night.
Object there was none.
Passion there was none. He loved the old man, who had never wronged him. He had never given him insult. For his gold he had no desire.
I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this.
Oh. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon him, his blood ran cold, and so, by degrees, very gradually, he made up his mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid himself of the eye.
Forever. Oh, now this is the point. You fancy me mad, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded. With what caution. With what foresight. With what dissimulation.
He went to work and was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before he killed him.
Every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and I opened it, oh, so gently. And then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed.
Closed so that no light shone out.
And then I thrust in my head.
He moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that he might not disturb the old man's sleep.
It took him an hour to place his whole head within the opening, so far that he could see him as he lay upon his bed.
Ah, when a madman has been as wise as this.
And then, when his head was well in the room, he undid the lantern cautiously.
Oh, so cautiously.
Cautiously. For the hinges creaked.
He undid it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the area of the vulture eye.
Oh, and this I did for 7 long nights, every night just at midnight, but I found the eye always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work.
For it was not the old man who vexed him, but his evil eye.
Upon the 8th night, he was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moved more quickly than did his.
Never before that night had I felt the full extent of my powers.
To think that there he was opening the door little by little, and the old man not even to dream of his secret deeds or thoughts. He fairly chuckled at the idea.
And perhaps the old man heard him, for he moved on the bed suddenly as if started.
You may think that I drew back, but no!
The room was as black as pitch with the thick darkness, and so he knew that he could not be seeing the opening of the door, and he kept pushing it on, steadily, steadily.
I had my head in, and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped on the fastening, and the old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?"
He kept quite still and said nothing.
For a whole hour, I did not move a muscle, and I did not hear him lie down.
He was still sitting up in the bed.
Listening. Presently, I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror.
It was not a groan of pain or of grief. Oh, no.
It was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe.
Oh, I knew the sound well. I knew how the old man felt, and I pitied him, though I chuckled at heart.
He knew. The old man had been lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he had turned in the bed. His fears had been ever since growing upon him.
He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. He had been saying to himself,
"It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor."
Yes, he has been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, but he had found all in vain.
All in vain.
Because death, in approaching him, had stalked back with its black shadows before him and enveloped the victim.
When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a little, a very, very little crevice in the lantern, till at length A single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot out from the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was open.
Wide, wide open, and he grew furious as he gazed upon it.
He saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow in his bones.
But he could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for he had directed the ray as if by instinct precisely upon the damned eye.
And now have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but an over-acuteness of the senses? There came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury, as the beating of a drum stimulates the soldier into courage.
But even yet he refrained and kept still. He scarcely breathed.
He held the lantern motionless.
Oh, meanwhile, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker and louder every instant.
The old man's terror must have been extreme.
It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. Louder! Oh, I thought the heart must burst. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leapt into the room. He shrieked once. Once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. I then smiled gaily to see the deed so far done.
But for many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex him. It would not be heard through the wall. At length, it
ceased. The old man was dead. Oh, yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart, and I held it there for many minutes. There was no pulsation. His eye would trouble me no more.
He took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. He then replaced the boards so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no blood stain of any kind.
No, I had been too wary for that.
When he had made an end of all these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door.
I went down to open it with a light heart, for what had I to fear?
They introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police.
A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused, and they had been sent to search the premises.
He bade the gentleman welcome.
The shriek was my own, in a dream. The old man was absent, in the country.
He took the visitors all over the house and bade them search.
Search well.
He led them at length to the old man's chamber. The officers were satisfied.
Oh, my manner had convinced them.
But ere long, he felt himself getting pale and wished them gone.
His head ached, and he fancied a ringing in his ears.
But still they sat, and still they chatted.
The ringing became more distinct.
It was a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as watches make when enveloped in cotton.
Yet the officers heard it not. Why would they not be gone?
He foamed.
He raved. He swore.
Oh, it grew louder, louder, louder.
And still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not?
Oh, louder, 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 louder! Villains! Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Here! Tear up the planks. Here, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. The end. another joke. That one was for New Year's. So if anyone is ever wondering what to do on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, this is something that you can do. It's a wonderful party game. It's called Hide Under the Planks. And you can do it with friends. You could do it with family. You could do it with that neighbor down the street. Oh, but I didn't tell you to do that. And Christian, it's yours again for commercials, my friend.
Hi, my name is Jamie Engel, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go, a short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered. With stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at therightangle.com. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
I'm sorry, you have to give me a moment. I'm still thinking about Dookie, the Squatty Potty unicorn, and the wonderful book, The Toilet Papers. I'm ordering for my entire family for Christmas gifts for the holidays, because that was absolutely wonderful. I loved that. But moving forward, we have one last segment for all of you. Now, Edgar Allan Poe was known for his long-form type stories or long-form poems like The Raven, but he was also well known for shorter poems. And some of these are lovely, some of these are dark, some of these are beautifully sad. And we're going to bring you 3 of these right now. So, Sephoneia, you're going to start, my dear, with a wonderful poem from Edgar Allan Poe.
Thank you, Byron. Today I present for thee Annabel Lee, from October 9th of 1849 by Edgar Allan Poe. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden lived, whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that, long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, that a wind blew out of a cloud by night, chilling my Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me to shut her up and a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, this was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in the heavens above, nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And the stars never rise, but I see the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life, and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the side of the sea. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. The end.
There we go. My mic is unmuted. I was raving about you, but my mic was muted. So that was lovely. Thank you for that. That was absolutely beautiful. So Poe could be a romantic, sad, death, romance, but he could be a romantic. And now we're going to go slightly darker, but also very existential. We're going to take a look at life itself, actually, and death itself. Bosch, this one's yours.
The Conqueror Worm by Edgar Allan Poe. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years. An angel throng, bewinged, bedight in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theatre to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes, in the form of God on high, mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly, mere puppets they, who come and go, at bidding of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings, invisible woe. That motley drama, oh, be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased forevermore by a crowd that sees it not, through a circle that ever returneth into the self-same spot, and much of madness, and more of sin and horror the soul of the plot. But see, amid the mimic rout a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It writhes with mortal pangs. The mimes become its food, and the angels sob at vermin fangs in human gore imbued. Out all the lights, out all! And over each quivering form the curtain, a funeral pall, comes down with the rush of a storm. And the angels, all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy Man, and its hero, the Conqueror Worm. The end.
Beautiful, Bosch. That was absolutely wonderful. Again, we've picked some of our favorite poems here from Poe. We're going to end with one last poem, but I do want to give the audience just some information about the one that was read earlier, Annabel Lee. If you noticed, it was published on October 9th, 1849. If you remember the introduction we did, Poe died on October 7th, 1849. This was the first poem published after his death. It was done actually by accident. It wasn't supposed to be published until the following year, according to contract, but the way they rushed it to press was they put it as part of his obituary. Therefore, they sort of circumvented the contract that they had. So that was issued after his death. He never got to see the publication of that. This next one I'm going to read for you is going to be our final poem. This will be a Byron poem. Truly feels like a Byron poem. It's a poem that he wrote earlier in 1849, perhaps as he was softening a little bit. And it has the feel of the Romantics. When Poe was a child, he actually was at school in Europe while Byron and Shelley first met, which is fascinating. So there are some wonderful links between all of that. Here we go, a poem from myself to you. A Dream Within a Dream. A poem first published on March 31st, 1849 by Edgar Allan Poe. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. Oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? The end. Lovely poem from Poe. And Christian, my dear friends, everyone out there in TARDIS land who is watching, our wonderful host for this evening, the Reverend and Melanie, that is the end of our gift to the Doctor.
I'm putting the banner up because I'm adding everybody back in. I just want to see what collage it creates by putting
wonderful.
Everybody in.
This is going to be fun.
Let's see what kind of mess this becomes. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3. There we are. Oh, it worked.
Bravo.
Actually in good positions everywhere.
Bravo.
So, thank you so much for Bosch. Thank you. Sephoneia. Did I get that right?
Close enough.
Sephoneia.
Sephoneia.
I got it right the first time, and I blew it the second time out there. First of all, I want to introduce, as you saw in the opening, our special guest, Richard Ashton.
Hey.
Friday.
Hello, Richard.
And wait, something
Hello, thank you, Phantasmagoria. That was fantastic.
Thank you, my friend.
Wait a minute, I can't.
Correct, Richard, that you did a TV movie of the Saint years ago, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Wait a minute, no, you're not. You were laughing hard. When
you were laughing when he mentioned it because I saw you
well,
just die laughing,
yes,
Richard.
I was, because it had originally been the pilot of a series, and the series didn't go, and the star of the show went on to do other things, so that was it. But as the standalone, the episode didn't quite work. So we did a framing story, which is what I shot, which sort of somewhat made a complete movie out of the whole thing. But brilliantly, they had Roger Moore.
Yes.
They had Ian Ogilvy.
Yes.
But they managed not to get, for that movie, Simon Dutton, who was the Saint in the 80s. But he did come and do a Christmas movie with us a year or so later. So we missed a trick there, I think.
But wonderful, though. But what a piece of history, especially to get those two wonderful actors. Because I actually don't know the other actor you just mentioned, Simon. I do know Ian Ogilvy. I used to watch all of his Saints. And, of course, we all know Roger Moore. So what a piece of history you got to partake in. That's just wonderful, Richard. Bravo.
But of course, you horror fans will know that Ian Ogilvy
yes.
was in some seminal British 70s horror films.
Oh, yes.
Really
Weren't you in one of the Hellraisers too?
Again, this is another one of those stories. I went to some second unit and prop work on Hellraiser, and I became the man who was responsible for the box, as in what's in the box. The box is in the box. And so we did some work on second unit with that because of my puppetry experience. My days of being painted into a latex suit for 19 hours a day are probably over. What those guys did on that movie was astonishing. The making of the movie is itself a horror film.
Oh, I can imagine. But it's a legend, right? I mean, that's a legendary horror film. So just congratulations for being part of such wonderful, rich parts of our pop culture history.
Well, it's about hanging around and always saying yes. Hang around, always say yes, and it's astonishing what you end up doing.
I love it. Bravo, my friend. Bravo, Richard.
I found a really short Edgar Allan Poe poem here. Would you like it?
Yes. Please do it.
Yep. You're up.
Here you go.
Your turn.
Yeah.
From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source, I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone. And all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. And that's called Alone.
Bravo.
Which I thought was quite good, because it, whatever he sees differently, and it comes from a different place. And we all think we know about Edgar Allan Poe, and then as I was listening to all of you talking tonight, I thought, I don't know anything about this man at all. Everything is new. You've shown me it new again. And it's just worth going back and back and back, isn't it?
Bravo, my friend.
And then there's
so
all
little
the,
secret,
the murder
a little
mysteries.
secret for you, Richard. That's one of our favorite Poe poems. It's called Alone, and it is one of our favorites because he never wrote it for publication. He wrote it in somebody's guest book, which means it's the most private and personal of all his poems you just picked. So bravo, my friend.
You know what? It says it here. The autograph album of Lucy Holmes.
Yep.
Along with a poem by his brother, William Henry Poe.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
That's absolutely amazing, isn't it? So you chose, of all the poems you could choose. Bravo.
Well, my gift to you.
Thank you, my friend.
I have to remind everybody out in the audience that Lord Byron impersonates an American accent from time to time.
No. I got it. Lord Byron's from Brooklyn. All right.
Believe it or not, Lord Byron, you have fooled two of our panelists who are in the UK. They actually believe that you do have the accent. And you do have the accents. So, Melanie, if you want to run through the chats, I just wanted to make a few things while we got that, so I can get the pictures down out there. For those of you who participated for our veterans this past weekend, we salute you. Thank you so much for everything you do for protecting our country. I made this a while back over there, and people enjoy it.
For both Veterans Day and for Remembrance Day.
And Remembrance Day, yes. For our friends in the UK, yes. Please. Thank you for your service out there. This past weekend on November 11th, this is a special picture for us. The lady on the left, that is Faith Kelly, who is one of our panelists when we do cosplays. She is also our premier 13th Doctor. She celebrated her birthday on the 11th of November. Unfortunately, the gentleman on the right, same day, November the 11th, 3 years ago, we lost T.R. Hibbert. And that was to this day, it still resonates. To this day, I still look around the convention floor to see if he's going to show up. So, happy birthday, Faith, and we will always remember you, TR. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry,
JR.
My apologies. JR. Sorry.
My God.
My apologies. I know, I always got it wrong. Well, JR, I wanted to show a picture that I was really that I always get inspired by. I told one day, if you've ever seen JR, he is a rather tall man, and I asked him one day, I want you to lay on the ground and just hold the TARDIS. But it's one of my favorite pictures, and a lot of people love that picture, and it just resonates a lot. And JR, you will be missed. And we'll always remember you out there, especially if I get the initials wrong. I apologize.
He would be laughing.
Speaking of which, on November 11th, he would never let me down. He would be taking me out to lunch and going and saying, "What was my name again?" like 10 times during the whole thing. Wallace Shawn. He had his 80th birthday on November the 11th. And if today, for you fellow Whovians, if you did not know, the gentleman on the left has a birthday today, Mr. Paul McGann. And just have some pictures from his time that I had the honor of hosting him at MegaCon, one of his panels out there. We made a birthday cake for him. Melanie was out actually in the audience. This was before Traveling Tardis.
That's my photo.
That's your photo right there. And in traditional Florida style, and I'm going to do the same thing for you, Mr. Richard, when you get down here in Florida out here. When I was hosting the panel, I said, you have to wear these the whole time that I'm interviewing you.
That's how you come out here.
Oh no!
I made him wear it.
Brilliant.
I made him wear it the whole time out there. So, and I really want to focus on our two new cast members because I wanted to pull up this old picture. This is from where you guys started, and I think
yes.
The lady Cimarine.
Yes. Yeah, that was the first one we ever did for you. I remember that.
I know.
I think this is our third or fourth year, so that's amazing.
Yes. And I love it when you do split the holidays. You do Christmas, and sometimes you'll do Halloween, depending on. I know you guys are busy. And I saw, and by the end of the show, Lord Byron, I want to make sure you announce all your upcoming performances that are coming up. But I definitely want to focus on your two new cast members. Let's start with ladies first. Absolutely. Sephoneia, how did you come upon Phantasmagoria?
Well, I lived in Orlando for a good amount of time, and the vibes that are given by the group as a whole, as I'm sure, are just very much spoke to me. So I was able to reach out and submit my interest with Lord Byron. And luckily, I was found worthy enough to be able to join the ranks. Now, unfortunately, I had to leave the Orlando area, but whenever I have the opportunity to participate, whether that's from far away or I will travel back down to participate, then I always take every advantage that I possibly can to be able to do that.
Now, you have to show me the pillow and all of our audience a pillow that you have. Show me before the performance.
Well,
I want one.
I had to fix it because it was dead. But it lights up.
Oh!
So I had to unstitch it, and I replaced the battery and stitch it all back up together.
Oh my God.
It's squishy.
The Traveling TARDIS.
Traveling pillow TARDIS out there.
Traveling pillow TARDIS. It's very comfortable.
I love it.
Gotcha out there. So are you going to be performing? Oh no, you're out of town, right? Or are you going to be coming down?
I will hopefully be participating with MegaCon in February.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not able to do the holiday season because of my job. My job is to get everyone else to where they want to go.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm trying to delete photos. Yes.
But yeah, my job is to get
My
everyone ready
performances
for the
were-
holidays. So
My bad.
I don't get to be where I want to be for the holidays.
Aw.
Gotcha.
Well, we'll see you back at MegaCon because I'm happy to announce that for those of you MegaCon, and the dates are February 2nd to the 4th, right, Melanie?
Yep.
February 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
1st, 2nd,
Yep,
3rd, and 4th. I'm happy to announce, and we just got word from Mike, we will be joining forces with the Dalek Builders of Florida again.
Nice.
And I love our little combination because we are a one-stop shop for Whovians. Get to play with the Daleks and go and check out our podcasts out there. And we will be returning with the Dalek Builders of Florida for MegaCon. I can't believe they're doing it in February, but go figure out there.
I know.
Hey, it used to be February, March for forever. So
I know. Well,
Yeah.
and then they moved it to what, May? And it was May forever, May, June.
Yeah, because that was the only way to get the convention center. Because
Yeah.
February had the cheerleading competition for forever. So
Mm.
for those of us who remember those days when you had to guess, is that a cheerleader or an anime girl?
Yep.
Or both.
Or both. Or it could be both. Yeah,
It could be, it could be a cheerleader as an anime
but,
girl.
yeah, Erie Travels will be there too. We're excited. We're
Yeah.
coming back to
Yay.
Florida for that. So, yep.
So you'll be
I'm a
coming
guest.
back.
Wow.
I'm the only one not going.
You're a guest, Mark. You're a
I'm
guest.
a guest again. Yeah, I'm a creator guest, which is
Yay.
lovely. So
Well, Melanie, you're gonna be there, right? You're gonna be.
Yes.
You got your art. See,
I-
Melanie, pieces of me.
I'll be in
Audience
Artist Alley again. Still working on panel submissions and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, I will be an artist. I'll be in Artist Alley. I've got 2 spots. I'll be in my same old area, trying to run around, show off my artwork, and do panels. And hopefully, Phantasmagoria is going to have performances at MegaCon again.
Yes. 10
Yay.
performances. Yep. Yep.
Woo!
I believe that was already announced. I saw the pictures.
Yep. We will be there.
Yay.
Speaking of being there, I want to bring on Bosch, who I
Hello.
haven't seen before. Is this your first time with Phantasmagoria? Because I don't think I've seen you on stage.
Bosch and Byron have been working together for 9 years now.
All right.
Yes.
Well, then I've just been
Right.
out of the loop. How did you join the troupe? Because you started 9 years ago. How did you go, hey, I'm going to join this?
I was an actor in Orlando, and the great director John Dodonna had me audition for something for which he promptly did not cast me for. But
Oh wow!
That sounds familiar.
based on that audition, he called me a year later and said, "Hey, I've got this really cool, dark, rough piece that no one seems to be feeling. Will you please come and read for it?" And after that, he said, "You know what? Why don't you show up at Phantasmagoria, and we'll see how things go." And that was 9 years ago.
And if you haven't seen them, they're just they're a wonderful sight out there. And I got to see them last Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful. I just love putting your pictures together there, Lord Byron, because there's you on the right and there's you in the middle.
Yes. Byron,
We
yeah.
got the 2 Byrons.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to go over to the Lord and Lady's house for New Year's dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was so lovely. And yeah, it's you go around the house, everything is Phantasmagoria. Everything is
Basket full of heads,
Phantasmagoria.
as
And
one should have.
I see that they were performing in Sanford. This was during COVID.
Yes.
I think this was the one, Melanie, that they did a special performance for the vendors.
That was the
Yeah.
vendor performance that I
was not vendor.
tried
Yeah.
to hurry out of. I tried to get there,
Where we
and it was
stayed
late.
and did an extra performance. Yeah. Yep.
It was wonderful.
It's like, yep. I was just like, oh, we get our own performance. Yes.
I was
Please.
so thankful for that because there was no way I could make it to any of the other ones.
Yeah. Well,
It was the
hopefully
same
we'll do
thing,
one
too.
again this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And we were very thankful because it was like, I like, yeah, I want to see your show, but it's during right when we're doing everything.
Yeah.
And then
We
you
all
did
have
the
our
one
own panels and
performance.
stuff. So
Exactly. So I was
Yeah.
very happy that you did that for us.
Good.
If you do one
Good.
again, we'll definitely be back. So speaking of which, I want to bring on my favorite Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
Surprised you're back.
Richard, is there anything that you got coming up down the pike?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah, I'm in that time of the year where I'm auditioning. I was in a theatre in London yesterday singing. But no, I could lie. But no, it's one of those.
Oh, Well, I can ask you. I can ask you. How was Long Island?
wait,
How was Long Island? Who? Because you
Long
were
Island Who,
just
yeah.
there.
Fantastic.
Yay!
It's quite a few years since I've been, and really, it's intimate, it's fun, it's exciting, I don't know, it's a very warm love. We go to Tesla's factory on Long Island, which he only had briefly, but nonetheless, you know, the power transmission tower and everything like that was there. Well, the base of it was there. So we got to talk a lot about the Doctor Who episode, which was fun. It's just a great time. It really is, and everybody seemed to have a lovely time, because it must be 6 or 7 years since I was there. It was lovely. Yeah. So, thank you, Ken.
Yes, thank you, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Friday doesn't get too many invitations now. Because we've all moved on, we've all rolled on. You know, it's. I keep on at the people at Millennium, telling them there must be something that I can fit into, but unless bring the Ice Warriors back, I think that might be it.
No, you're still my favorite Friday.
We got a plug for a big finish. The Life of Friday.
The life. And now that we've got the expansion going on here,
why not?
I've always said it'd make a great companion, but
there we
I think
go.
It might be a bit big. Yeah.
Richard, I want to thank you for coming. Oh, sorry. Well, I wanted to thank you for coming on tonight, but I refused to tell Lord Byron that you were hosting, and he didn't even know until about just a little bit earlier.
Which is very mean of you, because they were expecting somebody famous.
That's terrible.
Wait a minute.
Not some old out-of-work English actor you found hanging around on the internet.
Wait. John, tell me, when you found out Richard was on and hosting, what did you think?
Well, so Richard, just in all honesty, the second your face appeared, I went, I know this guy. And I know, and so I was like, the whole time you were talking, I'm going, what are the shows? Yes. And that's when I remembered The Saint. I'm like, no. And I remember, I know I don't recognize you from Fifth Element because you were one of the aliens, but I remember reading about you doing it. So you're an actor whose face, you know, that I have definitely recognized for years. So it was really nice to have you come on. It's always an honor to have, you know, people come in, especially from England.
It's always lovely. And thank you for sharing. I mean, I meant very much what I said about reintroducing Poe. It's great work. It's great work. Because it makes us all go back to the texts and,
yes,
you know, explore them again, which is wonderful.
Bravo, Richard. I love it. Good. That's our gift to the Doctor.
Well, thank you for doing your reading of Alone from Poe.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that at all, so thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
I gotta go pick up El Dorado right now. I don't remember it all, so I'm gonna have to go. That's my next one. I think I remember it, but I know there's bits I missed. So
now I know everybody's gonna give me grief about this because it's still early, and I know if anybody's been following my personal Facebook page knows that my tree is up, but if anybody's actually seen my tree, you would know why it takes a long time to put that tree up, and it's a kind of a special tree out there. Just a reminder, folks, on the 1st of December, going up to the 25th, we're going to have a special, The Legend of the Traveling Tardis, the 25 Days of Christmas. We're going to put out music, we're going to put out pictures, we're going to put out videos, and we're just going to have an all good around time for the holidays that are coming up out here. And I might start a little bit early, but this is one of my favorites from, of all places, Hall Mats. And she was just sitting down reading a book. Somebody took a picture, and as the photographer walked away, she was still kneeling down, and I put the TARDIS in her book, and I said, "Can I take your picture?" And yeah, exactly. That's how that picture came out to be. And it's one of the more popular Christmas pictures out there. And I think it's just simply gorgeous. She did a wonderful job, and she was just a good sport about it. So if I ever find out who that is, I will let her know about that. Unfortunately, that's the convention life. It's just like, let me get your picture gone. I'm just like, I can't even tag you or whatnot. And for those of you who have been who are curious, oh shoot, hang on a second.
Christian, where are you going? What are you doing? It's like if you're curious, and he comes out.
This is still intact.
Wow.
2 weeks ago.
Maker Faire? Was that
This is Maker Faire. This was 2 weeks ago now. And the lovely Star Cosplay had made this. We showed the pictures on last week's episode. But a lot of kids had their, as soon as they walked away, their balloons broke. And I just wanted to let her know, yours is still intact. This is the TARDIS that she made. And I literally thought she was going to make a big fist TARDIS, like take a TARDIS and just take the balloon and just fold it up and put like little top on it. And I think she spent a good 10 minutes on this. And I'm like, I'm feeling bad. So she's a wonderful cosplayer as well as a balloon artist. And it's like, oh, what made you decide to do that? She goes, I just did it. She just wanted to learn it. I'm just like, okay. So whatever out there.
I was going to ask, so what's in store for Phantasmagoria for the rest of the season? Are we going to be seeing anything from Dickens? Or...
Well, no. In fact, that is our whole motif for the year. "'Tis not your Dickens ghost story" is actually our tagline. Because, we did Christmas Carol for, 8 years in a row, our version, our adaptation of it in our style. And then last year we added the Canterville Ghost to it, which is not as well known here as it is in England. But we added the Canterville Ghost to it. Yes. And then last year, while we were doing our Christmas Carol, there were 13 other Christmas carols in Orlando.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So we decided that this year we weren't going to do it. We actually licensed it. So up in Syracuse, they're doing Phantasmagoria's Christmas Carol and Canterville Ghost up there.
Okay.
And down here, we put together... So years ago, we did something called Through a Christmas Darkly, which was a mini tour. We were doing Christmas Carol on the main tour and Through a Christmas Darkly on the mini tour, which was a collection of ghost stories, from Victoriana and from before. And so we put that together for this year. It's called A Most Haunted Victorian Christmas. And we're doing stories like The Tale of the Krampus, of course. We're doing Strange Christmas Game by Charlotte Riddle, which is this wonderful Christmas Eve mystery that's told. Mm-hmm. We're doing The Mistletoe Bough, which is a famous ballad/poem from the mid-1800s about a woman who goes missing on Christmas Eve, and it's also the eve of her wedding. So we took all these wonderful horror tales of Christmas, these haunted tales, I should say, and we put them together into one of our shows. Like we do with the Halloween shows. So we'll be touring with that starting December 9th. We open at the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. And we tour from there to Sanford, the Wayne Dench, to Ocala, the Riley Arts Center, to Leesburg, the Melon Patch Theater, and then end up the 2 days before the holidays at DeLand at the Athens Theater.
Oh, wow.
About 3 weeks of that. And at the same time, not Phantasmagoria, we have a Celestis launch going up. So this is, for those of you in fandom, so it's finally, after 7 years, we're doing the Star Trek flight. So all of the ashes of the Star Trek actors are going up into space. It's because Lieutenant Uhura recently passed away. Mm-hmm. And that kind of solidified it. So it's actually going up on a Vulcan rocket. And it is called the Enterprise, the actual satellite. And it goes up December 24th. So Dion and I help host those. So we're going to be heading out to Kennedy Space Center and hosting another flight. We've done about 7 of them at this point in time. Five of them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's the rest of the year. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes. You're going to be busy.
Check them out on their Facebook page, facebook.com/Phantasmagoria Orlando as one word, or you can go on their website. And all the links are in the description below, whether you're at YouTube or Facebook. Wherever you're watching, the links are in our description, so you can always check them out. But I usually follow them on Facebook because you guys used to do live performances on Facebook. Are you going to go back to that? Or
we are. That's really cool that you brought that up. We are. We're going to, we did it all during the pandemic. We did one a week.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And we ended up doing 1.5 years of episodes every Sunday night. And it was mostly just Simmarine and myself. But we would have guests come in, and we had musical artists come in. And when we were reviewed, they called it Phantasmagoria Night Live because it was like Saturday Night Live in a way. But we had to stop. Once the world opened up again and we went back to touring and doing all the live events, we really couldn't do it. So we made a decision that this coming year, we're going to do one a month.
Oh, fantastic.
We're going to pick a Sunday, like the last Sunday or the third Sunday or something like that. And we're going to do those episodes again. And we're going to bring in people other than myself and Cimarine. Still about a half hour to 45-minute episode. But we're going to do it once a month just to reconnect, because I actually get emails all the time from people like, in Japan and Canada and Australia going, when are you guys going to do it again? So we'll start doing it on Facebook Live again, probably, January. At the end of January, you'll see one come up.
That's so cool. Make sure my notifications are on. So don't just subscribe and all that other and follow Phantasmagoria. Make sure that you're doing your notifications so that way that stuff pops up so that you are aware of these things. Because you can like something and just never hear about it again. Make sure you have to actually hit that little stupid bell, even though everyone says like, subscribe, bell. Da, 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 da. If you don't, it'll get buried.
Yep.
So don't let it get buried.
It'll get buried into those notifications of millions. If you trust me, it's an experience that you want to check out. And if you saw it tonight, to see it in person, to see it on stage, I had last year. It was phenomenal, and it was awesome. And I jaw dropping the whole time I was watching the stories of the Canterbury Tales and the Canterbury Tales. And what was the other one?
Canterville Ghost.
Canterbury Ghost.
It's an Oscar Wilde. It's a fave in well, Richard, it's more British than it is American.
Well, I do. Although, funnily enough, there was a beautiful musical version.
Yes,
which we did a new sing through of it in Los Angeles at the Kodak Workspace some years ago. Yeah, Adrian Russ and her husband put it together, and it's beautiful. I got to sing Sir Simon, obviously.
I knew it. I was about to say you made Sir Simon. Yeah. That's who I play. We're going to play the same roles. Yeah.
It's fabulous. It's a lovely story, and they gave it a wonderful treatment. I'm sort of surprised we haven't seen more of it. I'll try and dig the CD of it out and send you.
Oh, please! I would love to hear it. Wow,
because it's terrific. Yeah, it's he's such a surprising writer. Everybody they think they know Oscar Wilde, then they go, oh no. Well, has a lot of things to say about life and people in general. Absolutely. It's not all little pithy witticisms, Very soulful.
No. It's beautiful, and that end is gorgeous.
But guys, it's quite early in the morning here, so I'm going to.
No, I get you.
No, we're all there.
We're all there.
So I'd better tiptoe off. But thank you so much for that. That was fabulous.
Thank you, Richard.
And
thank you, Richard.
Before, have a lovely Christmas. Not at all. Always a pleasure.
No, I'll bug you. I'll definitely bug you before the holidays. Thank you, Richard, out there. Thank you, Team Phantasmagoria. I think we lost Bosch. I'm hoping he's coming back.
We did know he had to leave, and I actually have to leave too, my friend.
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting out. So thank you so much, Mark. I love you. I cannot wait to hug you.
And pleasure. We'll see you soon. We have more stories to tell. I've the new book Erie Southeast out early in the year. And
great
I've got some stories for you.
Let's connect about doing one of our panels together, like we always do.
As always, that'd be fantastic. We'll treat MegaCon with that. So
love it. And Melanie and Reverend and Sephoneia. Thank you so much. And Christian, as always, thank you for inviting us. And I'm going to take off. You can stay, Sephoneia. Enjoy.
I have to go. I've got an early flight in the morning.
Oh, that's very true.
That's okay.
We're guys, and Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.
Sephoneia, guys, we'll see you both at MegaCon this coming year from the 1st to the 4th in 2024. Melanie, check out her pieces. What?
Happy Krampusnacht, December 5th.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, we'll just run through the chats real fast and we'll call it a night out.
It's
a mess.
It's a mess because a lot of it is we're not going to be posting the chat, so it's hard to kind of go through.
Yeah, I know.
So I just get to the last things here. Hold on.
No, that's fine.
No, but Christian, a few people did comment about the doctor did come to DC a couple times. So
I had to think, but where did he go to DC? I think
in the Silence episode.
That's right.
He went to visit Nixon. So
that's right. Phantasmagoria is my favorite of the fellow. Is a favorite of the fellow who runs HoloCon every
HoloCon.
Halloween weekend in
Dalton,
in
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good con.
Love British accent, still fools me even though I know the USA. However, you need to use a British slang. Oh, there you go. When you come down here, you can tell them about it. Definitely the Mark Robinson. And Sephoneia.
Sephoneia.
You know, I want to say Sephoria. I want to say that's
it's not Sephora. She's not a makeup counter. It's
Yeah.
Sephoneia.
And not Sephoneia.
Hey, I slipped up
which
and
you
said
said
TR,
once, which
so
sounded like
that was
something
my
you would
night.
catch. Yeah.
Sephoneia is a hard name to pronounce. My late Filipina grandmother's first name was
Sepharina.
Sepharina.
Which is funny because I think my mom's the name my grandfather wanted my mom to be was Serafina, and my grandmother was like, no, and she Marie.
I have an aunt, Serafina. So
the funny thing is, my mom wanted my name to be Lenore because she was a huge Poe fan, and my dad was just like, no, I don't like that name. Blah 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 blah. It was between Poe and then also Lenore because of there was an old movie about the $1 Million Mermaid. No, not $1 Million. It was some other mermaid. It was some other mermaid movie. But yeah, I was almost on Lenore. Let's see. Already had that one.
That one again.
Go backward.
We love you, Mark.
I'm just jumping around. Nico Bat says, "I agree with Christian. Where do we get one of those?" I'm sure she was referring to
the pillow.
Her pillow.
Yeah,
the pillow.
That was epic.
Oh yeah, but yeah, the Roger had mentioned. I think I had replied to the Reverend with the fact that not all Poe's poems and short stories are morbid.
No, not all. There's
not all of them, but
it's a chunk. It's a chunk.
It's a good chunk because I remember getting a book, and I ended up getting this one because the old one I had got destroyed in a flood. And I remember as a child, I had, because again, my mom was like, and I said I wanted a Poe book. She got it for me, and I was in elementary school, so I read a lot of content that I shouldn't have it as a wee Mel. But I remember the Black Cat always just stuck me because here I'm just reading about a guy that's mutilating cat and the wife, and then later, as I keep reading it, as I get older and older, I understood metaphors and also understood when you learn more about the author about alcoholism and how all that stuff ties together, and it's like, oh, okay. So it wasn't just crazy how there's a lot of layers to Poe, like any author. Let's see.
Yep. And then gang, I'm also gonna have to go, but thank you all so much for having me, and happy holidays, gang. Hope to see you all very soon.
Holidays,
Happy holidays.
Get your butt back here in Florida. What's wrong?
I'm jealous. Thanksgiving weekend, but not doing any appearances. Our next appearance down there, besides MegaCon, I'm doing the Clearwater Yacht Club on Valentine's Day. So they're having me do ghost haunted love stories. So that'll be fun.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And then I've got a few other signings down there next year. So I'll be back many times. So.
Okay. It's good. A good place to visit. Live not so much right now.
So Melanie,
I'm doing a couple library signings up in Western North Carolina. If anybody wants to find us, just eerietravels.com. You can listen to the podcast twice a week, and you can find out where we're going to be. So
there you go. Follow Mark.
Bye, gang.
No, let's follow. No, Melanie, let's follow Mark. We're going to go to his house. Yeah, we're going to take a field trip up to North Carolina.
Hey, it's in the 20s tonight, but it was in the 70s.
Oh my God,
Claudius, no.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's got his Claudius TARDIS room.
Okay, good. That's the first thing I thought. It's in the 20s. Claudius?
25. No, he's fine. He's fine.
I'm at 58. You're 20.
Yeah, no, he's loving it. He just had some shrimp and some mice earlier, so he's good.
Okay.
So, all right. We'll see you all soon.
Oh, right. Andrew said, don't forget Children in Need this Friday with the 14th Doctor. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the Children in Need special.
God.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to find it. Yep. That's the bad thing is I don't know where they air for stateside.
It'll be a YouTube thing.
Yeah, everything like that we have to find on YouTube.
Twella Pendragon, want to say hi. I'm just jumping around here too. She says she's new to the show, and she's a friend of mine. So nice, and thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. So I'm sorry, I'm just jumping around there, but I invited her to come on. And she watched the show, and apparently she liked it. There we go. ACB, gotta go. I'll try to show more. And a lot of people showed up tonight. So Richard based in London, or do you have to travel down? He's in. That's a good question.
I'm not sure. I'm not. He's over there in the UK, so he's somewhere there. But he's always. He just came to Long Island Who. So if you ever need a guest, that's Doctor Who. That we can help facilitate, because Richard is amazing.
Mark says it's 7 degrees Celsius in the UK now. Dang.
No, and I don't know what that means, but it sounds cold.
It's cold.
So no.
It's cold. Roger says we're expecting a lot of rain this Wednesday night into Thursday morning. You said you got rain. It came over here as just a big bag of wind.
Oh, we had just. I needed a canoe to get across the bridge. I mean, it was rainy. It's my commute usually. Well, on one hand, Floridians can drive in the rain. On the second hand, Florida seems to be nothing but transplants now. So it's getting behind cars that are out-of-state plates that don't drive well in the rain, which is fine. Safety first, but move your butt over to the right side of over to the right side of the road, so that the rest of us can keep navigating a little bit faster. But yeah, so it took a little bit, but yeah, it wasn't lightning though. It was just a full-on rain, dark, cloudy. It's one of those where for it to be winter, it was very gray, which is not typically normal. So that kind of a wintry Florida rain, I guess.
So we're getting the cold front.
Yeah, there's going to be a cold front behind this guy.
Richard Lacoste. I think this is the first time I've seen you, Richard. So less than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Andrew says it's 44.
Nope. Less than 70 degrees Fahrenheit for this Floridian.
I like to feel my fingers at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, and
that's just me.
You can make fun of me. It's fine. I understand, but that's the Floridian blood. It's it's 95 degrees out. There's next to the reverse of that whole the Floridian and transplants. It was 90 degrees out, and everybody, you could tell the Floridians because the windows were rolled down, because you're driving, you're like, oh, it's beautiful out, and the windows are down, and everyone's going, what the heck? Because it's been 98. So you're like, oh, it's 90. It's cool. Anyway. Let's see. Andrew says 44 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep.
No, me gusta.
This is why we're all in Florida.
This is why we're in Florida. Ooh, winter storm here in California. Ooh, winter storm. I keep forgetting how big it's like Florida. How California is just it's a huge state, north south, but then west and east, you go west and then mountains. So I forget how
we forget about the panhandle.
The diversity
occasionally gets lucky.
Oh, the panhandle's Alabama.
Well, I was like, it's still us. It's just they don't. I remember those memes that they put out about the weather chart, and Florida's the only one in red, and they write something like this is, we hate Florida Day or something like that. Or the red one. I'm just like, well, come on down here. Well, apparently they all did.
Snowstorm, it's blue, purples, and white.
Exactly.
Except Florida, which is in, red, orange.
Red. Like how? Why? And it's always going down there. Donna, Carlene. Oh, it's been a while. Welcome, Phantasmagoria. Like I said, I'm just jumping around chat, so I wanted to make sure everybody earlier gets.
Click on it when you see it.
I don't want to cut you off though. What? Yeah, let me go ahead. I'll bring this up.
Okay.
Welcome, Phantasmagoria. I'm just jumping down from the top. Want to make sure everybody who was up there gets a chance. I know of Throgmorton's El Amartisia Challenger. Well, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe. There's that hashtag guru guy.
Yeah, there's some guy. There's some guy.
Some awesomely.
Mark Robinson never knew that Edgar Allan Poe was quoted by Brandon Lee as Eric Draven in The Crow. Suddenly I heard a tapping. Oh, okay.
Is there someone gently rapping at my chamber door?
Now I got to watch it.
Fell down.
Yeah, and Bosch had the kind of crow.
So what'd you think, Melanie? I mean, this is a gift that keeps on giving every year.
I absolutely adore Phantasmagoria. The bad thing is when he said, and I understand why he's not doing Dickens this year, because what did he say? 18 different versions of Dickens was
Yeah,
going on.
there was.
It just pained me that I could not get to see them last year. So I was hoping that they were doing a Dickens this year so I could see it, and they're not. Which is
Was it Dickens or specifically A Christmas Carol?
It was specifically it was A Christmas Carol, but then they were also adding the Canterville. But yeah, so I'm like, darn it. But no, I love Chris. You know how everybody and in the chats tell me which movie, if you have a specific holiday movie that you kind of watch and that's your Christmas movie, that's your holiday movie, that gets you into the season if you celebrate, or just kind of. What movie is that specifically for you? Because like for my husband, it's A Christmas Story. Yep. It's Christmas when Santa on the Macy's Day Parade comes down, and now Christmas Story. Now he's happy. Now it's Christmas because he gets to see, funny enough, that. But his actual big movie is Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, and it's usually either the Mystery Science Theater version or the cinematic Titanic version, or now the Riff Tracks versions out there. So that's his movie. Mine is A Christmas Carol, and it's a Muppet Christmas Carol. That's my movie. Let's see. Christopher Eccleston is doing A Christmas Carol this year. I heard about this, and I want to see it.
Was he doing it on stage, or is he doing it on TV?
Is it stage or Andrew? Let me know if it's stage or TV. But yeah, mine is a Muppet Christmas Carol, and I have it on DVD. I've bought the streaming one, but that way I can always watch it because I love that movie.
On stage. He says on stage.
He's saying on stage. Ooh, because I just heard that Tennant was announced to do Macbeth. And I have seen Eccleston's Macbeth, what he was doing at the RSC. Absolutely phenomenal. All right. Insane phenomenal. Okay.
Hashtag Guru, what is your go-to? Real fast, what's your hashtag?
Oh, Die Hard, of course. No.
And it is a Christmas movie. I will die on this hill.
Christmas Carol, Alistair Sims.
Alistair
Black and white.
Sims.
The original.
Or even color.
The
black and white.
Ooh, the black and that is a good one.
But black and white because it's traditional. I can watch the color one just because it's interesting how they use the colorization of it, but I will accept either one. Black and white first.
Andrew says.
And Die Hard.
And Die Hard. No, Die Hard is one. I will always fight people on that. It's a Wonderful Life and Muppets Christmas Carol.
I can't get past that title.
Why?
Because Bruce Wayne said it in the Batman Adventures. I just can't get past that title. And it made sense to me.
Muppet Christmas Carol. Hello, Mr. Humbug. Hello, Mr. Scrooge.
Oh, hello.
I'm trying to remember.
Mr. Magoo.
Sorry.
My favorite is of the Christmas carols is actually George C. Scott, because David Warner's in that one as Scratchit, and
who the heck?
Yes, I'm gonna scratch
it. This man.
There's another one that barely gets mentioned at all, but I think it is one of the funniest Christmas carols. It's Blackadder's Christmas Carol
with Nicola
Bryant.
Yeah, Nicola Bryant's in that one.
Yep. And the thing, it's the reverse. Spoiler alert for those of you who've never seen the Blackadder Christmas Carol, which I think is a great treat. Scrooge starts off good, and the angel, the spirit accidentally gives him a reason to become bad. That's all I'm gonna say. And it's an amazing adventure, and it's in great Blackadder form going through time up until he sees his future, and he's going like, "Oh, okay, here we go." I could have sworn there's one with Mark Strickland. I can't remember that. And the other,
another Christmas Carol I love is Patrick Stewart's back in '99. I remember watching that one, going, "Oh, this one's good," but it didn't for me. Muppets.
Blackadder Christmas classic. Scrooged. Oh yeah.
Scrooged is a good one. Let's see. And then Roger says, I like the Nutcracker Ballet for Christmas. Yes, the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy is quite a great tune. All throughout high school and in my college, I did technical theater. So I was in like either worked the fly rail or was a stagehand or all kind of stuff for the Nutcracker. So like all that music just ingrained in my brain. And that's honestly one of those where if there's a performance somewhere, a live performance somewhere, I'd rather see that one live than to see it like on stage. The same thing as like Swan Lake. So a lot of ballet I like seeing live.
You know what? And here's the funny part, and this has become recent for me. I can't think of it not being Christmas unless I see a Doctor Who Christmas Carol, which I think is excellent.
Yeah.
I love that one, especially with the passing of
Michael Gambon.
Gambon, yeah, who was Kazran Sardik, and that one hurt.
That one just gave me a lot of Batman, Mr. Freeze vibes.
Love David Warner in Once and Future. Okay, I'm gonna get that. We're gonna review that. I don't care how long it takes. I'm gonna get that one. Sir Patrick plays Grumpy so well.
Very grumpy as Scrooge.
Also, Melanie, I grew up HBO as a kid, and this is the time when they were repeating stuff over and over again, like Christmas Story. But there were two shows when I was a kid that it wasn't Christmas, and I got to see them. The first one was, and nobody probably remembers this comedian, Richard Little's Christmas Carol, where he did all the impersonations. And Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is one of the greatest films ever made. Yes, because I remember for the longest time not being able to find that. And I had like a VHS tape that we had. It was one of those kind of things where you ran over and you pressed record.
Yes.
And I didn't get really the very, very beginning of it. And as you can see, I had to say press record. And I even remembered you got to use two buttons. You had to hit the play button and the record button to hit both in order to record something. That's how old I am.
It's not only that, those songs are burnt in my head.
Oh, it was so wonderful, though.
And I just remember they were showing the outtakes. I can't believe there were outtakes of a puppet movie. But one of the outtakes they were showing was it took them like 20 attempts. I don't even remember the Nightmare Gang went into that music store. And there was a comedic scene where this drum was supposed to be rolling out of the store, and it kept messing up. They said they couldn't even do it. I wonder they almost gave up on it because they couldn't get this drum to roll out of the store proper. So that was the outtakes. I'm like, that's an outtake of a puppet movie. Okay, fine, whatever. Miracle on 34th Street, Home Alone series, White Christmas plus National Lampoon. And when I mean Home Alone, I'm talking about 1 and 2. Everybody else is just.
I think there's 4 of them. We just saw it, I think, on Disney Plus. We were scrolling through and it had like Home Alone and 1, 2, 3, 4. And even Kevin was just kind of like, there's 4 of them.
There is.
And you know what? There's kids that are going to want to watch 3 and 4 and grew up with seeing them as little kids. So fantastic. Let everyone just enjoy what they like.
I'm a 1 and 2 guy.
I'll take 1 and 2. It's fine.
I bought it.
Let's see.
Scrooge, a classic, yeah. I bought a DVD. I still have it. I haven't opened it yet. There are 5 Smokey and the Bandit movies. The first 3, and then there were 2 more done by other actors. I'm like, I almost like.
No Smokey or Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit. 5 movies. So there's the first 3.
He's looking.
There's the first 3 with Burt Reynolds and Jackie Gleason. And then there are these 2 extras. I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch. Yep.
It says 7 movies.
The 7 movie. 7 movies. You got it. I think. Yeah, turn it around.
7 movie outlaw collection.
Yep, there they are.
What? Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey and the Bandit 2, Smokey and the Bandit Part 3, Bandit Goes Country, Bandit. That's awesome. Bandit, Beauty and the Bandit, and then Bandit Silver Angel. I take
back. There's 7 movies of Smokey and the Bandit.
I give so much credit for Bandit. That's, you know what? I might have to bravo on that. That's just so stupid. I love it. They just leaned in and went, no, we're doing this. This is the title.
Nobody knows this about the third movie because it's so like it doesn't even make sense why that movie came out. But the original title of the third movie was Smokey is the Bandit, where they actually the I can't remember the father and son's name, but they convince the sheriff to become the bandit, and he has to do this one thing. I think it was for money or something, but the sheriff was retiring, and then Smokey had to actually become the bandit and drive the car.
Snowman is the bandit. Smokey is a cop.
No. The original title was Smokey is the Bandit. They were going to have Jackie Gleason become the bandit. That's why it was.
But in one of the sequel ones?
The third one, yeah. That's why it's called Smokey and the Bandit 3. It was originally Smokey is the Bandit. And they came up with the idea of making Buford T. Justice Smokey, so he's getting chased by the cops and everything. The brothers, the son and father convince Buford T. Justice to become the bandit. And then it all kind of morphed into Snowman becoming the bandit, which is weird. It's just like, why would they recruit Snowman to become the bandit? And it was like, okay. Bandit this time is personal, yeah.
Yeah. Classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, and Little Drummer Boy, the claymation. That's what is the name of those movies? My brain's not working. Who produced those? Sorry, I'm gonna to the internets. Rankin Bass. Got it first. There we go.
You're gonna hate Edwards. Thank you, Edward. Snowman animation. There it is. It's Christmas Hound that night.
You know what? Let's lean into it. You know, I'm all about. One of the things I think I saw or heard of, and I'm not sure, but I know a lot of people have been making like the Life Day robes, and now that you can actually, I think, go to Disney and buy the Life Day robes, I'm tempted to make a Life Day robe and go to Disney, go to freaking Galaxy's Edge and walk around with a Life Day robe. Why not? You know, let's do it. Let's just go.
I don't know if you heard, but when before the Star Cruiser closed, they were going to do for the holidays the Life Day. They were going to do a special thing with the Star Cruiser for Life Day. I'm like, no, everybody shook their head.
I desperately wanted to do that. I just, I have many opinions on that, and bless
George
those
Lucas
who
wants
went
to bury the thing.
Wasn't him. He has nothing to do with it. It was just honestly the freaking price. That's the thing. Was the skybox. They skyboxed the damn thing. There's no way I was going to spend $4,000 for a 2-night shindig with me and my husband. No, I fly to London. I'll walk around Pinewood for that.
There were so many comparisons about what you could do with the money, and you could actually take that same money, stay at a Disney resort, get all your food taken care of, get merchandise, and it's just like, and you'd still have money to kick around for 2 weeks, or Disney Cruise Line or something. And
$4,000 was a good chunk of me and my husband both going to London to go to Star Wars Celebration. That was a decent little chunk of that. I would say a good majority of it because of the flights and everything. I did points and were very thrifty for most of it. So all said and told, and I mean, it's not equal parts here because clearly I did spend a little bit more money to go to London.
Mm-hmm.
But I also went to London for well over a week and not 2 nights. So yeah, anyway.
Exactly.
So yeah, you know what? Yeah, it could be. I could make the argument that it's the same thing because granted, even though for me, Star Cruiser means I just get in my car and drive on it I-4 to get there, other people would have to fly in. So we can cancel the flights out. And the hotel. Screw that. Yes.
Oh, now everybody's rubbing it. Roger's going, There's 7 Police Academy movies. Mark Robinson. There's 37 Godzilla movies. Howard. Just throwing out franchises out there with multiple.
Which one was Citizens on Patrol?
I think that was the 5th.
Was that the 5th one?
I could be wrong. It was.
No, I need it.
Back in Training was 2, right?
Police Academy.
Oh, wait a minute.
Training. Oh, we need to know this.
Oh, we got to look.
I used to I loved them. I was young. Some of the jokes went over my head. Other ones, they went right to me because I was just
Citizens on Patrol, Project Miami Beach.
Yeah, that was Miami.
They went to Russia at one point, and Michael Winslow talks about their time going over country. It's like, yeah, I just remember his story about that.
They keep doing a police academy kind of thing here in my neck of the woods, and I keep thinking about it because I'm like, it'd be kind of fun. And the whole time Kevin has to go citizens on patrol, and every time I walk by, he goes dun dun da 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 da, and I'm like, I might do it just for the jokes. Oh, I'm so bad.
You know, Michael Winslow lives in Winter Garden. He's here.
Oh,
He's a local boy.
Oh, I didn't know
He
that.
lives in Winter Garden.
Grandma got ran over by a reindeer animation. Yeah, that was a Ray Stevens. I remember that. I do remember that. It's on the block version, Canadian version of the 12 Days of Christmas.
All right, guys. Now we're being silly. Fast and Furious.
We are. We're having fun.
I know, but might as well throw in Rocky movies and crap like that. Let's go.
300 Fast and Furious. Did you see there's another movie coming out? It's called The Beekeeper. It's John Wick Part 2. This is, think of another John Wick franchise, except it's Jason Statham. Statham? I can never say his name. It's like he's John Wick, except it's like he's the beekeeper. And it's just like instead of John Wick losing his dog, he loses a very nice, elderly, sweet Mrs. Huxtable. Like a sweet Claire Huxtable figure in his life, and then he just goes on a rampage and it's murder spree. And I'm like, I will watch that. So fun fact, there's another one.
Wasn't there an SNL skit with The Rock? He was protecting the forest or something like that. It's just
I think so. Airplane. It's a bad time to quit amphetamines. I love Airplane. Airplane's amazing.
Quotable movie.
Oh, what an amazing movie! That's just fantastic. Airplane, and the second one wasn't bad either. It wasn't great, but it wasn't great.
It just had the magic.
Of course, it wasn't gonna have. Yeah.
Well, they needed everybody back. They definitely needed Leslie Nielsen if they were going to do it, and that he was like the heart of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way to get around it. He was really the heart of the first movie. You know, Don't Call Me Shirley and all that. And then he did his own. God knows how many movies he's done of that genre.
Well, that was the movie both he and Bridges both were so much serious actors that this was the movie that pushed him into comedy. And then for my generation, because I was born in 79, like 4 days late, so I was like technically kind of 80s, so I was more of an 80s baby. That growing up, all the movies I saw were just those two was just comedic. So when they started doing serious again, I was like, what is this? So it was like they had two arcs of people going, wait, you're just a drama serious actor. What are you doing comedy? And then years later, wait, you're just a comedic actor. What are you doing serious? Realizing, oh no, they both can do both. But then for a little bit, they got typecast until they got
that's why I get it won, because the Zucker brothers really enjoyed it. He got deadpan down. I mean, nobody could get it down, but he pulled it off, and that's why he was brought in. And when to see a movie, what was it? Creep Show, of all things.
Yes,
he was the bad guy in Creep Show.
I can hold my breath a long time. Sorry,
I'm like, whoa. I just couldn't. I'll take my coffee break. You killed my granny. Prepare to die.
Question to ask you, panel, from the American viewpoint, or point of view. Which is better, Carry On films or National Lampoon films?
I've only seen one Carry On film.
What's a Carry On film?
There's a series. It's just like National Lampoon, Carry On something or other. It was like Carry On Soldier, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mark, correct me, Carry On Sergeant or Soldier that had William Hartnell, and I saw Carry On Columbus that had John Pertwee in it. So there's a lot of it's a Carry On series. It's similar just to a comedy series like Airplane and stuff like that, but more of the British humor. But National Lampoon films, I don't know. They're separate but same in my. They have their own thing. You can tell which one's like Americanized, one is British. They're different types of humor and such. Keanu Reeves can do any genre of any movie. Where's that movie that I keep seeing that they're going to take? They should take Keanu Reeves and I can't think of his name. The guy from the Mummy movies. They should
Brendan
do
Fraser.
Brendan Fraser, yeah.
Brendan Fraser.
Then it'll be a big hit. Doesn't matter what. You can have anything. What's Carry On Film? Think naughty British humor. Yeah.
Okay.
That's essentially it. It's those super hero film or those comedies that Leslie Nielsen moved on to.
Oh yeah, the really leaning into like the spoofs kind of ones, but
spoof silliness,
kind of, but the really silly campy. I'm trying to think what movies would be like that. Funny enough, I've never been a big National Lampoon's person. It just wasn't. Okay, so my father ingrained in me a loathing of Chevy Chase because he never liked him. He never found him funny. He just never liked him. So he's going to rule the remote. I'm growing up, again, 80s, so I never watched any of the National Lampoon movies or whatever. So when my husband wants to watch them for Christmas, or Christmas Vacation, all those other stuff, I've seen bits and pieces and I find them funny, but they're not, I don't get that nostalgic kind of laughter along with what I think most of Americana, I would almost say. So, yeah. And then Van Wilder was good, but then it is what it is. Let's see.
I don't know. I just heard too many bad things about Chevy Chase, and
he's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. See, my father just flat out just said he's not funny, and we just never watched anything with him. The only time I ever saw him that I thought was that I realized, oh no, he's hilarious, was in Community, but then found out he's a terrible person and didn't get along with the cast, and then off we go again. But yeah, he was hilarious.
See, I grew up with the older 80 movies, like there was one with a dog, and
Benji.
He dies, and he becomes the dog. Was it Benji?
No,
it was.
Benji
I think
it was a dog.
He did a lot of Goldie Hawn movies. He did one. Shut it.
Goldie Hawn. That's Russell.
He did 2 movies with Goldie Hawn. I know that for a fact. I can't remember the names. My claim to fame for him is Fletch. I loved him in Fletch.
Because a lot of people with
and Spies Like Us,
would say Spies Like Us. They would say Three Amigos, and they would also say Fletch. Well, at least some of the people I knew. And I was like, oh, okay, but for me, I just never
Hot Tub Time Machine, which was a cameo.
Carry On Sergeant with William Hartnell. Yeah, thank you, Mark.
There it is.
Yeah, I remember that. I hadn't seen that. I'm going to see that whenever I get a chance, among some other things I have to do. Yep. Yeah, he didn't get on with the Community cast. I kind of liked it, but I grew up as a kid, so I thought Chevy Chase was the bomb because he was doing all these. He came from SNL, and I liked him in Fletch. I kind of liked the way that he was just like, you can tell, I think he was let loose to do things. I think he improv'd a lot. That's my opinion. I don't know the facts behind it, but that's the feeling I get. You know, I remember that scene that they had discussed, of all things, in Caddyshack, where Harold Ramis was told by the producers, you will have Bill Murray and Chevy Chase in the same scene. and like Harold Ramis is like, no. And he just basically had to do what they were going to do. I think they improv the whole scene. But those two, if you know anything about the history of SNL, those two, I think, literally duked it out at one point. I mean, they hated it. So think about it. You're the director of this new movie. You're this new director for Caddyshack. Your name is Harold Ramis. And you have to take these two monolithic comedic giants who despise each other and forced to put them in a scene together and have it out. So if you look at the scene between the two of them, you can tell they're kind of, everything is just disjointed. There's nothing between the two. And
they weren't even hiding the fact that they loathed each other then. See, I've never really seen Caddyshack, and when I tried, I'm like, it's not my humor, it's not my genre, it's not just everything about it. I'm like, it's not me. Again, much respect for those who think it's the greatest film in the world. just not my cup of tea.
It was the lightning that shouldn't have struck. It worked so well. If you really, what was it? Somebody was taking the movie and dissecting it as like, for plot, for characterizations and everything. If you really think about it, it's a horrible, horrible story. But yet you just had the right amount of ingredients in the soup to stir it, and it all just worked out. You had Ted Knight, you had Cindy Morgan, you had Chevy Chase, you had Bill Murray, who was only on there for a week. But he just came up with his own stuff, and Harold Ramis is just letting them do their thing, and it just became a classic. And it should never happen, but it
Kurt
did.
Russell was in a lot of two Goldie Hawn. I remember him in Overboard with both of them.
Well, the fact that Dan Aykroyd replaced Bill in the second Caddyshack is kind of making
No, I pretend that's there's a multiverse, and we just ignore that one. So that's why I say you just pretend it's a multiverse, and the only person in there is Chevy Chase. John Pertwee appeared in 4 Carry On films: Cleo, Cowboy, Screaming, and Columbus. And I saw Columbus. Carry On Screaming, Carry On Cowboy, Carry On Cleo. I guess that's referring to Cleopatra. So there's like a whole series of the Carry-Ons. Do they still do the Carry-Ons, or that kind of just... When do they stop the Carry-Ons? Because I know there's like a zillion of them.
Yeah, Carry On might
back to see if anyone said anything.
Carry-Ons are dated and not politically correct. That's today's standards. Well, that's the 80s.
Well, that's Mel Brooks.
That's the Inquisition. Let's begin. Oh.
Yep, that would be my dog. Sorry.
Dog alert.
Dog alert.
Do I have to make one? I think they stopped them in the 90s. You might be right. Aight.
Scratching. Scratch it.
I
Scratch it.
Okay, I think we're done. We're done. Okay. 15 people watching us. I don't know why. We're just vamping.
Why not?
Yes, that's right. They're not married, but they've been together. They're still together, I think, because they've been together for like ever.
They just I remember
What did they just call it?
No, yeah. Kurt just did. I think he said it was going to be his last movie. I forgot what it was called, but it's a Santa Claus movie. He's Santa, and Goldie's Mrs. Claus. And I think we find out that Mrs. Claus is at the second movie, and I think he did a sequel. And I think he said he was done. He wasn't going to do anymore.
Is it a Disney one?
No, it's not a Disney one. I'm 90% sure. It was just like one of those off the cuff.
Because it'd be kind of funny since his whole career started Disney when he was young.
Mm-hmm.
If he went full circle, went back. Because I mean, he did do Marvel, so it's kind of Disney-ish.
And I'm just shocked that the Santa Claus has a series.
Mm-hmm.
Tim
saw
Allen
that.
has a TV series, and I think they're already on season 2. I'm like, season 2?
I keep forgetting about the Santa Claus. Those movies are amazing too. 1, 2, and 3.
Agreed.
But, yeah, because the
I like the second one the best.
3 was 2. Which one was 2?
3 was Jack Frost. 2 is where he gets a wife.
Okay, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I have to admit, I really do like all of them. I mean, the first one, great premise and everything, and then they came out with the sequel with the wife, still worked. I love when he was pulling the presents out with all the vintage toys and stuff. I thought that was hilarious. That was just heartwarming and great. And then the third one with Jack Frost, and then meeting the parents coming over with Alan Arkin and oh my Lord, I can't remember her name. The mom, she's also amazing. She used to do stage. And Margaret. Here we go. But yeah, anyhow. So what's the plan for the 60th? Will you be watching live reaction? I don't know. That's going to be a Christian thing. And since he just disappeared, it's probably maybe grabbing a pup. I'm not sure. Let's see. Anyone in London? There's a free Doctor Who exhibition near Hammersmith. So, hey. If you're watching and you're in London, 1, why aren't you asleep? 2, bless your soul for not being asleep right now. This is maybe the sound of my voice is making you the droning on is making you fall asleep. But before you fall, exactly. Doctor Who exhibition in near Hammersmith. Let's see. I think Kurt said he would do a cameo as Snake Plissken if John Carpenter asked him to. That would be amazing. I don't know if John's doing anything more. I don't think.
Yeah, that last Halloween movie was not. I haven't seen it, and I'm staying away from it to tell you the truth. And Fluffy.
Oh, I don't know.
I like Joe K.
Joe Coy's good. Joe Coy's pretty
good, but I'm like, I don't know why Fluffy's good.
Oh, I don't know.
If I had to pick, Lewis Black.
They're both up there. Ooh, they're both up there. Mel ASMR. I'll just sit here. Here you go. 1 a.m. There's all fine here.
Cut some soft soap up over and over again.
All right. This was a question for you, sir.
So I don't know, Mark. It really depends.
Told you.
We're gonna be it's not like the BBC dropping it. It's like, when are they gonna stream it? Who's available on the team at that time? Because that's a Saturday after Thanksgiving. That's just basically all of Thanksgiving is blown in my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just so glad that they're not playing it on Thanksgiving. I was so afraid. But like, look,
it's a Thursday. It's a streaming. I was gonna go wait until the turkey put everybody to sleep and come back in here and go, okay, who's available? So we're gonna try our best. For me, I would love to do a watch and a review party together, but if it doesn't happen, we'll do our best to do it. So that is the plan, and I think I said that on previous episodes. We don't have a plan. We're just trying. This is our first endeavor into the streaming services now with Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see who's available, and if we can do a watch party, I would love to. If we can do back-to-back, whatnot, or we may just do Tuesday nights and just review it.
Okay, so the first thing we're getting is on the 18th, right? This Saturday?
No, the first episode is the Saturday after. The Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Then the 2 Saturdays thereafter it drops.
Children in Need, and then the episode.
Children in Need is the 14th.
Right. Okay.
Or what date is it? I think it was the 18th.
18th.
I think you said that was the 18th.
Yeah, so Children in Need, and even then, it's a hit or miss whether we're going to see it or not. There's a documentary on Channel 5 UK an hour after Star Beast. I saw some of the YouTube docs of David Tennant reviewing the regeneration between Tom Baker and Peter Davison, and they had an outtake, the scene outtake behind the scenes.
Son of a...
And it was just funny to watch. It's just like, oh, that's... he sees Tom Baker get up and leave, and he goes, oh, that's the last time he's being filmed. That's the last time he's Doctor Who. He's just like, no.
It's Friday?
It's Friday the 17th. Rodney Dangerfield's comedy was quite a hoot. Yeah. Never be another guy like him.
Let me tell you. Oh, my wife. Oh, well, she sits around a house. Oh, she sits around a house.
I kind of like the straight guys. When I mean the straight guys, I mean I like Ted Knight. I used to watch him when I was a kid. There was a series. I think it was kind of Straight Man. Too Close for Comfort. I liked him in that when I was a kid growing up. With Jim J. Bullock, yeah. Children in Need, Friday the 17th, Star Beast, and the Star Beast is 25th. Yeah, that's the Saturday after. So you see, this is where we're going to do our best. If the worst case scenario, we'll review it on Tuesday.
Yeah, because that's the bad thing. Is like it's for me. I have a show on the 25th and 26th. It's called Shopapalooza. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area and you want to come over to St. Pete. We're having a huge small business small business Saturday. It's a lot of artists, a lot of small businesses out on the park. It's gorgeous, beautiful weather always, all that kind of stuff. You can shop small, support all that kind of fun stuff. But that's Saturday and Sunday, Thanksgiving weekend. So, and they compiled that with the 25th is my mother's birthday and the 26th is my husband's birthday. So it's gonna be busy for Mel.
It's gonna be. It's the same reason why I don't go. I would love to go to Chicago TARDIS, and it's Thanksgiving weekend is just impossible. That's just family. Yeah. There's no way to get out of it. I'm just like, I wish I had, a Doctor Who family.
Yeah,
We
if
all
it's
take a trip
local
to.
family, yeah.
Yeah, but it's my local family. So, well, it's local.
I mean, if
and-
it was local, you're like, oh yeah, I can do that. I have the time off. Yeah, here we go.
Exactly. Or I just like, is Chrissy asleep? Okay. The go.
Like, I gotta go.
Then we got 2 others on the 2nd and the 9th, plus Doctor Who Unleashed.
Behind the scenes.
Yep. Speaking of behind the scenes, let's go ahead and give it a wrap because I got to take Summer out.
Yep.
I think Jess will be at Chicago TARDIS.
Yay.
Colbeen's 23rd. I know for a fact that Carol Ann Ford is supposed to be there.
Ooh.
Right after the premiere. So that's going to be interesting that she's going to show up over there. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, folks, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Don't forget to check out over on the Instagram at Pieces of Melee for Melanie Dean and over on the YouTube channel for the Reverend Namagon and Tasty Cakes. You got to say it right. You got to say it that way. And for those of you who joined us tonight, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed Phantasmagoria. Thank you, Phantasmagoria, Lord Byron, and all the team out there. And a special thank you to Richard Ashton for showing up out there. Don't forget, on the way out the door, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let your folks and friends know that we want to be the #1 Doctor Who podcast for you as we enter into the holiday season, the new year. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Tony, it's time. Take us out, brother.